Alrighty, so I am now officially 0 for 2 when it comes to my playoff prediction this year. And if you're an LAFC or Inter Miami fan and you watch that video where I make my prediction, I fill out the bracket, and that you're a little nervous right now because I picked that as an MLS Cup matchup, I don't blame you because, yeah, so far it's been kind of a nightmare start when it comes to me predicting the playoffs. And I'm also a little bit even more nervous about my team, Minnesota United, because I predicted them to go deep into the playoffs. I predicted them to go all the way to the Western Conference Final, mainly because they have been red hot heading into the playoffs. But if there's one thing that we learned so far in the playoffs, form and also past narrative doesn't really matter. It feels like we are beginning a brand new season when it comes to the playoffs, where everything is just kind of wiped out and we see some very unexpected resort. But that being said, as much as I said that, what in the world happened in this game between the Portland Timbers and the Vancouver Whitecaps? I mean, I don't think anyone saw this coming. If you would have told anyone that the Vancouver Whitecaps could go into Providence Park and put up a 5 spot on the Timbers and win 5-0 to cruise their way into the first round matchup against LAFC, no one would have believed you. You can even say that to Whitecaps fan, and they wouldn't believe it too because it's just too good to be true. But that's exactly what happened in this game. I mean, this was a game where I know the Timbers had their struggle heading into the playoffs as well. Well, this is a Whitecaps team that is heading into the playoffs with a 6-game winless run and have lost 4 in a row, also coming into the playoffs. Does not look like that team in this game against the Portland Timbers. So that being said, in the first half, I thought the Timbers had most of the possession as they were on the front foot, though not much really happened, at least early in this game. And really, for the first 15 minutes, you kind of had a sense that maybe this game was going to be a little bit tight because, both of these teams was being a little bit cautious when it comes to their build up, and as a result, 15 minutes in, we still have yet to see a shot in this one, and it feels like it's your typical kind of playoff game where it might get a little bit cagey in the beginning, and then things would open up, and that kind of makes sense because you have a game like this where the winner will move on and the loser is done this season. The first shot of the game did see Mosquera hits it right to Takoka before Pentimus denying goal from long range in the 16th minute. It was a bit of a bold decision for Phil Neville to put James Pantemis in there because throughout the season Crapo has been the number one, but Pantemis has been playing well lately, and really I cannot fault him for this game whatsoever. I mean, this game, none of the goals that he conceded, I could say that he could have done better. I mean, this Timbers defense clearly just not showed up whatsoever, and it started happening in the 20th minute as Ryan Gull would score the opening goal of this game to give the Whitecaps a 1-0 lead. We talked about before how the Timbers had their problem this season when it comes to defending set pieces. I mean, between them and the Galaxy, I mean, even Inter Miami in the early season, they're considered to be some of the worst team in terms of defending set pieces, and here just not dealing with the set piece whatsoever, not clearing their lines, leaving the ball in the box there. And when you decide to do that, yeah, you're eventually going to get punished, and that's exactly what happened here to give the Whitecaps a 1-0 lead. Rodriguez did look to answer, but he just completely mishit that one on the volley. Little do we know that shot will also kind of sums up the night for the Portland Timbers as well, because just 1 minute later, the Whitecaps made it 2-0. It's Brian White. He scored from Laborda and goal to make it 2-0 in favor of the Whitecaps. And this was all Mateus Laborda. I mean, he put on a very nice move there. And for a guy that is a center back, I definitely did not expect that he had that kind of moves. But at the same time, just so much ball watching defending there from the Timbers. And also, you got to question, how in the world do you let a center back do that to use it to turn you like that and put this one on the plate for Brian White to tap it in? And yeah, just like that, it was 2-0 in favor of the Whitecaps. Providence Park was stunned up to this point, and they would be continue to be stunned throughout this game too. This was probably the quietest I have seen throughout the game that Providence Park has had in a very long time, probably ever. I mean, that Timbers army, they were all hype in the beginning. They were stunned silence for about 70 minutes of this game, and I don't blame them whatsoever because even I'm kind of stunned of what I saw in this game as well. I'm pretty sure Whitecaps fans are probably stunned too in a good way of what they're seeing right now. But yeah, as I said, Providence Park is stunned as the Timbers just they don't forgot how to defend at all in this one, and that kind of continued the 31st minute when Ryan Gull would score from Armstrong and Vite to make it 3-0 in favor of the Whitecaps. So the Scottish connection is definitely there. Don't be surprised. We might see that more heading into next season. I mean, I always mention the connection between goal and White, but don't forget the Scottish connection. The two Scottish players combining here to make it 3-0, and also it was a great goal there from Ryan Goal. I mean, Ryan Goal was definitely feeling it in this game. Probably one of the best game he has ever played for the Vancouver Whitecaps in this one. And I even wrote, who are these Whitecaps? I mean, if you would have told me this team was on a 6-game winless run heading into the playoffs, no one would have believed you because they do not play like a team that were heading into this playoffs ice cold, and a team that, for many people, including myself, thought that they were dead on to be one and done this season. But at the same time, you couldn't ask for a more nightmare start for the Portland Timbers. I mean, this was probably the worst have at home, and really just in general, the worst game that the Portland Timbers have played, not only this season, but really for a while now. Probably you could even argue this might be the worst Timbers home game I've ever seen. I have never seen them just kind of crater so badly like this, and it couldn't happen at a worst possible time in a game where it's a playing game. You have to win this. If you don't show up whatsoever and you play your worst soccer at the worst possible time, this is, of course, would happen. Takoka then tipped Evander shot over, and then Iola would put one into the Timbers army. That shot also sums up the Timbers first half, and you can start to see frustration was starting to mount on these Timbers players. Nothing was going well for them. I mean, as much as I talk about the defense being bad, the attack was pretty much bad too. The link up play was just all off in this game whatsoever. Rodriguez then puts it wide from close in the 42nd minute before Ayala hits it over from close range as the Timbers started to put some sustained pressure, trying to push to get a goal back late. But we do head to halftime with the Whitecaps leading 3-0 in heading into the second half. And you're thinking, well, yeah, the Whitecaps are leading 3-0, but if the Timbers can get things going, maybe they have a chance to do so. Well, at least early on, it looked promising. Evander would hit one right to Takoka before Moreno puts one wide from long range. And again, it was a promising start. You're thinking that, if the Timbers can get one back, maybe this is a game. And then they conceded the fourth goal. Stuart Armstrong would get on the score sheet. He scored from Pico and Vite to make it 4-0 in favor of the Whitecaps. I might as well just, at this point, say that the Timbers are done. I mean, you cannot concede a fourth goal, especially coming out of the half as well, as after you got some momentum, looked like you were going to get one back. And again, just some optional defending there from the Timbers. Again, this was a problem this season, and this is something that they have to address heading into this off season. And I'll mention it again when I do the moving forward series about the Portland Timbers. It is shocking the fact that this team has not addressed this issue. That it's not even this year that has been a big issue. We knew for many years that this Timbers defense has been a problem, and that the fact that they haven't addressed it in the last couple of years is kind of the reason why they have looked a shell of their old self. Just a couple of years, it's hard to believe they made it to MLS Cup, and they just look nothing like that team for these last couple of seasons. And there's no doubt they have to do something about that defense. You cannot be conceding so many goals and still expect to make a deep run, even as strong as this attack is. And in this game. Rodriguez did look to respond, but he missed wide in the 54th minute. And then in the 59th minute, it would be 5-0 in favor of the Whitecaps, as Ryan Gull would score from Armstrong and Adekube to make it 5-0 up to this point. So the Scottish connection times two happened here, and you started to also see some fans heading into the exit. And I don't blame them. I mean, I know people would say, why would fans heading to the exit when they pay a lot of money to watch this game as well? I mean, when you're down 5-0, and also with the way that they mentioned it was like 40 degrees at Providence Park. Yeah, I don't blame those fans leaving, and especially it's also a midweek game as well. So yeah, I mean it just feels like there's just no point of staying, and especially you also see some empty green seats. As the game went on, this was probably the emptiest I've seen Providence Park in a very long time. And again, just the energy inside that stadium, just completely silence. Usually this is a stadium that is bouncing up and down nonstop for 90 minutes, but I mean there was just no singing whatsoever. The Timbers Army was stunned silence, and again, I don't blame them because they're just witnessing an absolute massacre that is happening in front of their backyard. Evander then puts it wide on the free kick. By the way, this is kind of when I really didn't pay too much attention to this game because again, at 5-0, unless there's just crazy drama, it's all done in this game. There was a shout for a penalty for the Timbers not given, and it was pretty much a faint shout too for that PK, but it was not given, and probably if it was given, they would have maybe even go to VAR to check if it was outside the box because it looked like on the second look it was outside the box. We then get a small coming together between both of these teams. Not surprised because again, this is when the Timbers they're very frustrated. This has just been a disastrous performance by them, and you can see the frustration start to riled up. And then Krylak had the last chance of this game. He hits it wide from close range. By the way, the Whitecaps were just one goal away from tying the record for the biggest win in the playoffs. The biggest win is still the one where New England won 6-0 against Chicago, all the way back in 2000. That is, but in the end, the Vancouver Whitecaps they won 5-0 in this game. This is also they mentioned only the second win that the Vancouver Whitecaps had in the playoffs. What's kind of interesting is that their first win in the playoffs, I think it was all the way back in 2017, they would play against the Quakes. Final score of that game was also 5-0. So if there's one thing about the Vancouver Whitecaps, if they get a win in the playoffs, it's going to be in an emphatic fashion, and they did it again. I mean, again, nobody saw this coming. This is going to go down as one of the greatest night for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and maybe probably the most embarrassing night for the Portland Timbers and at Providence Park as well. They didn't mention what's the worst loss that the Timbers have suffered at Providence Park. This has to be right up there because I don't remember last time that the Timbers give up 5 goals at Providence Park and lose in that bad of a fashion. Heck, when they play against some Liga MX team, they didn't even lose badly in like this fashion that they did lost to the Vancouver Whitecaps. But yeah, the shots in this one, 11 shots for the 12 that the Whitecaps had, 4 shots on goal for the 8 that the Timbers had, 1 shots off target for the 5 that Vancouver has. Both teams had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to the 46% possession that the Portland Timbers has in this game. And with this win, Vancouver, of course, moving on, they're going to be playing against a familiar team that is LAFC, and it looks like we're going to have a rematch of last year first round matchup as well because both of those teams met in the first round, and something tells me that Vancouver they won blood after what happened last year because that was the game where we saw the infamous event happen when with Vanni Sartini not only go on a bit of a ran and just kind of completely exploded as he was sent off in game number 2 because of a very controversial call that happened. But also he had some choice words in the post game press conference toward the referee, and that's kind of led to his suspension. So I wonder if that's going to be something we could see again. And again, there's no doubt the Whitecaps want revenge against LAFC, and that in many ways, if you're LAFC, if you would have had to pick who you want to face, I would say they would absolutely pick Portland over Vancouver. I mean, on paper, you would think it's Vancouver because they're a weaker team, but after what we see tonight, and especially with the way that Vancouver wants some revenge after what happened last year, yeah, it just feels like this might be one of those playoffs where chaos could be the name of the game. There could be some very unexpected resort, and this is why, as we're going to start the first round of the playoffs on Friday, this is where if you're some of those teams that is near the top of the standings and are considered heavy favorites, yeah, you must be sweating right now. And I'm also pretty sure that Don Gabbard and even the Apple TV CEO is probably sweating right now because they don't want to see this happen to Inter Miami. Consider that's their golden goose and their ticket in terms of really generating the interest and revenue throughout this playoffs as well. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.